Character Creator 2D Fantasy Engine. In this tutorial, we will go over the main features of the creator, how to use the UI, and the many different features it comes packed with. The core focus of the Fantasy Character Creator is to give you, the user, complete freedom in how you create your character with as much options as possible. So let's dive directly into it. To the right of the screen, we have the Gear selector. This panel contains all the different gear pieces the character has on him, like head, chest, belt, hands, legs, and boots. It also holds the main body. There are 3 body types to choose from: human, skeleton, and spirit. Let's go with the human body for now. You can change the color by either selecting one of the shortcut keys or by going into the color picker. The color picker is a powerful tool that allows you to set a unique color for each part of the character. For now, let's go with one of the hotkeys. Next, let's add a helmet. This body part is currently hidden, so let's activate it first. Now let's cycle between different styles. Same as before, we can pick a unique color we like. We can also use the randomizer. This is also a tool that's great for quickly generating characters. Just spam the button until you have a design that works for you. Okay, let's continue with the other body parts. They all work the same, so I'm going to speed it up a bit. Okay, I think we have a good-looking character now. Let's add some weapons to him. So the panel at the bottom is called the Weapon panel, and it holds all the different weapons you can equip your character with. You can choose from classic fantasy-style weapons like swords, knives, maces, staffs, and axes. You also have access to ranged weapons like bows, slingshots, and magic abilities, as well as different tools like wood-chopping axe and pickaxe. The weapons are organized according to the type. Just like with the gear pieces, the weapon's color can be customized to your needs. If you want your character to be unarmed, simply select a weapon, then click on it again. But for now, let's go with a classic sword. At the top of the screen, we have more gear options, each controlled by different toggles. The first one is Backpack. Here you can choose between different bags and quivers, but also unique parts like wings. When using wings on your character, be careful not to combine them with larger weapons like staffs, as they might visually conflict with each other from certain angles. I'm going to leave this at no backpack for now, which is the first toggle.
Next, we can equip our character with an offhand. Here you have lots of options with different shield designs, but we can also add a sword or a dagger. Same as with the other options, we can use the color picker to tint the part's color. I'm thinking a wooden shield will fit perfectly here. We also have the option of adding a mount to the character. We have a few different ones to choose from: the classic horse, rams, wolves, bears, and even a spider creature. We can select the color we want through the color picker. Important to note is that if you want this mount to be included in the final output, it has to be active when you press the Generate Sprite Sheet button. The last panel are called idles, and this is purely a tool to try our different idle animation to see how the character looks. The animation you have active here has no effect on the final exported character. All idles will be included in the export, regardless of what animation you have active here. Before going into the options, a quick tip is that if you only want to export a certain part of the character, you can hide all other parts and just leave the piece you want to export visible. For example, a unique weapon or gear piece. Okay, I think we have ourselves a good-looking character. Let's look at the different options we have in the right panel. First, let's expand the Output tab. This is an info panel where all of the different gear pieces and colors for each part of the character are shown in clear view. We also have a field where we can name our character. This name will be used for the folder the exported character will be placed in. If left blank, a generic character name will be given, along with the date it was created. We also have the option of saving our current character, so we can easily go back to it as a later stage. Saving the character will place it in the preset panel at the bottom left side of the screen. This preset panel already includes some example characters that you can look at for inspiration. It holds some classical units like knights, archers, a paladin, enemy character, and a lot more. It can give you an idea of what the creator is capable of. At the bottom, we also have our newly saved character. Let's select it again, going back to the option panel on the left and look at the next tab. First, we can close the export tab or leave it open. That's up to you. This tab is called Preview Settings, and it holds settings that are directly connected to preview the character. Changing these settings have no effect on the exported character, but can help you when designing your character. The first option is to toggle tooltips on and off. Tooltips appear when you hover over a function or panel in the creator. It shows you helpful information about the feature and how it's used. The next option is movement type. This basically sets the input used to move the character around the screen in the preview area. We have 4 different ways of controlling the movement of the character. Relative to mouse, point and click. Cardinal movement, which makes the character always look in the direction of the mouse. And finally, WASD movement, which doesn't take the mouse position into account at all. We can also adjust the playback speed. The default is 2x for smooth animation, but if you want a choppier feel, you can go with the 1x. We can also switch between different backgrounds. This is helpful if the current background conflicts with the color of your character's parts. Okay, let's close the preview settings now. The next tab is called Character Settings. These options directly affect the character you have. The first thing we can change is the shadow opacity. Changing this value will make the ground shadow under the character more or less transparent. Setting it to 0 will remove the shadow. This is great if you rather create your own shadow for your project. Next, we have the slash type. Slash is the word we use for the trail that the weapons leave when they attack. First, we can use the toggle to activate the slash effect. Leaving this off will make it so no slash effect is included. Now that we have it on, let's switch between the 2 different designs. For my character, I like the second one best. We can also change the color of the slash effect through the color picker. Let's go with white for now. Next up are the magic effects we can add. These are overlays to some of the different attack animations. These are great for magical characters or if you just want something extra to make the character stand out. Same as with slash, first we need to activate it with the toggle. Now we can start to cycle through the different effect types. Each comes with unique animations. Let's go with the fire one. Most effects comes with a pre-made color, but we can make smaller changes to it with the color picker. We also have a second effect we can add. This is used to layer different effects on top of each other, to give even more options in how the effect should look. Just activate the second effect and try out different combinations. Since my character is melee focused, I think I will turn off the magic effects. The last character setting is the resolution. This is a very powerful option that completely changes the look of your character. If you're going for a classic 16-bit style project, this is the option you should look at. When exporting, it goes over each sprite sheet and reduces the resolution by half. When going with this option, it's advised that you also turn on the outline feature, which we will look at later, since it makes the animation clearer to see. Selected the 16-bit toggle also gives you a simplified preview of how the character will look. It does this by adding a pixel-perfect camera. The exported character will look sharper, but it can give you an idea of how the final character will look. I'm going with HD for my character. Next, we have the Post-Processing tab. The setting you chose here are not directly visible in the preview window, but are instead applied when generating your character. If you are using the Unity version, the first option is to have your sprite sheets sliced into a perfect grid. Enabling this toggle also set the sprite mode to multiply, the filter mode to point, and the compression to uncompressed. Next, we have static idle animations. This toggle is turned off by default. Enabling it will make it so all the different idle animations stops animating and instead use the same sprite for the entire animation loop, making the character appear static when not moving. This setting is only recommended if you want the character to appear static while still running the same animation loop as all other animations. Then we have the outline options. These are powerful options to create a wide variety of outline designs around your character. To activate, simply enable the toggle for the design you wish to go with. First, we have solid outline. It will create a 1 pixel wide border around your character. The default color is black, but you can change it with the color picker. Next, we have glow. Enabling this will automatically set the other outline to off, since only one can be active at a time. It also shows a slider. This slider is used to set how many pixels wide the glow should be. Usually going with lower number here gives the best results. This uses the same color picker as the solid outline, so simply pick the color you want the glow to have. Finally, we have the gradient outline. This is not affected by the color picker, but instead, look at the nearest pixel and offsets the color based on that, creating a dynamic, bright outline around your character. The next option we will look at is the frame count. This also alters the feel of your generated character a lot. Basically, it sets the number of frames each animation will have. It does this by removing even or uneven frames in the animation loop when generating the character. The maximum amount of frame a animation can have is 15. Please note that using lower values like 4 and 6 will have mixed results, as some animations will be hard to perform with such low values. Finally, we have the toggle for flat coloring. This is off by default, but enabling it will make it so each part of the character will have its coloring flattened, removing any natural shadows or highlights the part might have, making each part of the character appear completely flat. If you are going with a stylized look in your project, this might be the option for you to play around with. This uses the exact hex color chosen for each character part, so the colors will appear slightly brighter than they do in the preview. Okay, let's close the post-processing tab now and look at the last one, which is the export settings. These options directly affects the exported character and what should be included in the export. The first option is individual sprites. Enabling this option will make it so the creator also exports each individual frame of each animation along with the complete sprite sheets. Usually, you don't need the individual frames, but if you do the options there, keep in mind that having this on can add some time to the generation since it manually slices each sprite sheet into individual frames. Next option is to include an animator. This is a bonus feature which might be helpful if you quickly want to get your character up and running. Enabling this will auto-create animation clips for each animation, saving you the time of doing it yourself. It will also create a generic animator with all the animations included. This animator has all the parameters, blend trees, and triggers you need to get started. Enabling this toggle also opens up the possibility to include a character prefab, which is an auto-generated prefab that has a generic player controller script for movement and input, as well as the animator hooked up to it. If you enable the prefab, we can also make it so we can preview the generated character you have created after the generation is complete by enabling the last toggle called Preview Character. Okay, we also almost ready to generate our character now. The last feature to look at is the animation to include. If you only want to include a specific set of animations, let's say you're creating an enemy that only needs idle, attack, and die, you can do so with these toggles. Use the All toggle to disable or enable them all again. Okay, let's generate the character now. Simply press the Create Sprite Sheet button and wait for the load bar to finish. Important to note here is that depending on the options you have chosen and the performance of your computer, this might take some time. Just remember not to close the application before it is finished if you don't want your character to be lost. Since we have the preview option enabled, a separate preview window now appears where we can see our final character in action using the included animator, animation clips, final sprite sheets, and character controller. We also have a list of the different hotkeys. To close the preview, simply press the X at the top right of the panel. Okay, I think that is it, guys. Thank you for following along in this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy this new character creator.